We continue now at the top of Daf Yud Amud Aleph and Mesechet Sanhedrin. This is Sanhedrin Daf 19a. On the previous Amud, the Gemara said that a Kohen Gadol doesn't do Yibum, and the Gemara said it makes sense to say that the Kohen Gadol doesn't do Yibum in a situation where, let's say, the Kohen Gadol's brother died after Nisuin, because then you have a lo saseh and an aseh involved. The lo saseh and the aseh is that a Kohen Gadol is not allowed to marry a woman that's not a basula. It's an aseh that the Kohen Gadol should marry a basula, and then there's a lo saseh that a Kohen Gadol is not allowed to marry an almana. V'ein aseh docha lo saseh v'aseh, and the aseh of Yibum is not going to be docha the lo saseh and the aseh. And Rashi explains, Vein aseh yavama yavo aleh. The aseh of Yibum is the pasuk of yavama yavo aleh. So it makes sense from Nisuin that the Kohen Gadol should not do Yibum. Ela minho erisin, but from erisin, amai, why is it that he should not do Yibum? Yavo aseh v'yidcha lo saseh. Let the aseh of Yibum come, and it should push off the lo saseh that he's not allowed to marry an almana. And the Gemara answers to that, Gezeira bia rishona atu bia shnia. We make a gezeira on the bia rishona because of the bia shnia, meaning that first time that he has bia when he's going to acquire and do the yibum. So there really we should say that aseh is docha lo saseh. However, he wouldn't be able to have relations a second time because there it's not an aseh of yibum anymore. The yibum is finished, and we make a gezeira since you can't have a second bia, so therefore you don't do the first as well. Rashi explains bia rishona di yibum, the first bia of yibum mekaima mitzvah saseh. That's a mitzvah saseh. Bia shnia, but the second time they would have relations, lav mitzvah yibum, that's not a mitzvah of yibum, and so therefore that's why we say no yibum at all. We don't even do the bia rishona. And the Gemara continues, Tanya nami hach. We have a brisa like this as well. In kidmu uvalu, let's say they had relations even though they weren't supposed to. Bia rishona, they had that first relations. Kanu, so then there is a kinyan that is yibum. V'asr l'kaimon b'bia shnia. However, it would be asr to maintain that and have a second relations. Again, as we said, the bia shnia is problematic, and again, the reason why the Kohen Gadol doesn't do any yibum is gezeira bia rishona atu bia shnia. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, mace lo mace, let's say the Kohen Gadol's relative dies, so he shouldn't follow directly after the mace. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabban, and the rabbis taught, umin ha-mikdash lo yetze, the pasuk says he shouldn't leave the mikdash, lo yetze imoin, it means he shouldn't go with them. Avol yotzehu acharein, but he is allowed to go behind them, as the Mishnah said, ketzad how so, hein nichsen, when they're covered, v'hu nigla, he'll be revealed, hein niglin, when they're revealed, v'hu nichsen, then he's covered, meaning to say, he shouldn't be exactly on the same alley as they are on. And Rashi explains, "Umin hamikdash lo yetze b'kohen gadol onin ksiv." This pasuk is by a kohen gadol that's an onin. Taksiv le'al minei lo aviv u'imo lo yitam. It says before that, it talks about the fact that he shouldn't become tameh to his father and to his mother. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, "V'yotze ad Pesach v'chulu." He goes out until the gate of the city, and then Rabbi Yehuda said he cannot even leave the Beis Hamikdash at all. And the Gemara says, "Shaper kamer Rabbi Yehuda." Rabbi Yehuda is saying correctly because the pasuk says, "Umin hamikdash lo yetze." He can't leave the mikdash. And the Gemara says, "Amar lach Rabbi Meir." Rabbi Meir will respond to you. Rabbi Meir will respond to Rabbi Yehuda. Ihachi, if so, if you're going to interpret the pasuk that it means he can't leave the mikdash at all, leveso namilo. So then say he can't go to his house either. He has to always stay in the Beis Hamikdash. Obviously, that's not the case. Elahachi kaman, rather, what does the pasuk mean to say? Min hamikdash lo yetze. What does it mean, min hamikdash lo yetze? It means miktushaso lo yetze. He shouldn't leave his sanctity. V'kevan de islay hakera, as long as there's some kind of recognition, meaning, as we said, that he doesn't follow directly after the mace. He stays in a different alleyway always. So lo asi leminga, so then he's not going to come to touch the mace, and that is going to be sufficient. And what does Rabbi Yehuda respond to that? Rabbi Yehuda responds to that, agav mores, because of his bitterness, because he is so saddened because of the mace, dilma mikri v'asi v'naga, maybe it will happen that he will end up touching, and therefore we have to place a greater restriction upon the Kohen Gadol that he should not leave the Beis HaMikdash. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Kishu Menachem, when the Kohen Gadol is consoling others, and the Mishnah described the arrangement. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Kishu over Beshura, when he's passing in the line, Lenachem Esacherim, to console others, Sagan Umashuach Sha'avar, the Skan, which is the deputy Kohen Gadol, and the Mashuach Sha'avar refers to someone who served as the Kohen Gadol temporarily, while the Kohen Gadol was not able to serve, and now that person who served temporarily is no longer serving as Kohen Gadol. He's called the Mashuach Sha'avar, the one who was anointed at one time to serve as the Kohen Gadol. They stand biyamino, the Skan and the Mashuach Sha'avar, they stand on the right side of the Kohen Gadol. V'rosh Beisav, and the Rosh Beisav, which is the head of the family that's overseeing the Kohanim and that shift in the Beis HaMikdash. V'avelim, and the mourners, v'chol ha'am, and all of the rest of the people, mismolo, they're all on the left of the Kohen Gadol. Ucheshu omed b'shura u'misnachem acherim. When he's standing in the row and he's being consoled by others, sagan miyamino, so the deputy Kohen Gadol is at his right, v'rosh beisav v'chol ha'am mismolo, and the rosh beisav and all of the people are at his left. Aval mashuach sha'avar, but when he's being consoled by others, the mashuach sha'avar, lo asi gabe, he doesn't come at all over there. My time, and what's the reason? Chol shadaite savar kachadi bi, because when the mashuach sha'avar, if he were to come, the Kohen Gadol would actually be depressed. He would think that the mashuach sha'avar is actually happy at the fact that the Kohen Gadol is not happy at the fact that the Kohen Gadol is in mourning, because the mashuach sha'avar resents the fact that he's no longer able to serve as the Kohen Gadol. And the Gemara continues, Amar Papa says, Shma mino meha masnisa tlos shma mino. We see from this brisa three things. Number one, hainu skan, hainu memuna. The skan is the same as the memuna. In the Mishnah is referred to as the memuna. That's how it's referred to here in the brisa as skan. That's the same individual. That's the deputy Kohen Gadol. Ushma mino avelim omdin v'cholam over. And you also see that the mourners, they stand up, and then they're comforted while they're standing, and all the people pass by. Ushma mino, we also see avelim l'smol hamenachamin hein omdin, that the avelim, the mourners, are always standing to the left of those who are consoling. And Rashi explains, Mashuach sha'avar kagon she'ira bo psul b'Kohen Gadol. For example, let's say there's some kind of disqualification in the Kohen Gadol, umino acher tachtav, so somebody was appointed to serve as the Kohen Gadol while he was disqualified, uchesha'avar psulo shal rishon, and when that disqualification of the first Kohen Gadol, when that passes, chozer la'avodah, so he goes back to his avodah, v'sheni karalei Mashuach sha'avar, and that second one, that replacement, is referred to as the Mashuach sha'avar. Chol shadaite the Kohen Gadol, again, the Kohen Gadol is going to be depressed. Chadi bi samach ba'evli, he's going to think that the Mashuach sha'avar is happy about the fact that he is in mourning. Shma mino midiktani sgan mikan v'am mikan, from the fact that it says the skan's on this side and the people are on that side, v'kohen be'ems, and the Kohen's in the middle. Hainu skan, hainu mamuna. You see that the skan is the mamuna demas nisan of the Mishnah. The Mishnah refers to the skan as the mamuna. To katani hamamuna mimatzo l'kohen v'nosno beino l'veinam. In the Mishnah, it was phrased again as mamuna. Avelim l'smol hamenachamim, the mourners are to the left of those who are consoling. Midiktani v'avel v'cholam mismolo. It says that the mourner and all the people are to his left. V'harehu haya min hamenachman, and he was one of the people consoling. V'katani avelim l'smolo, and it said that the avelim are to his left. Ushma minon, we also see kein minag tanchumin shura shiu avelim omdin b'mekom. And the way it works is the avelim, they stand in their place. V'chol ha'am over and ish keshemagi etzel ha'avel menachman, and then the people pass, and each one as they pass, they comfort the mourner v'over, and they pass by. Midiktani keshu over l'nachim, like it says that when he's passing to comfort, v'gavi misnachim katani keshu omid b'shur l'snachim, and when he's being comforted, it says when he's standing in order to be comforted. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabban, and the rabbis taught, Barishona hayu avelim omdin v'cholam over, and in the beginning, the mourners would stand and everyone would pass by in order to comfort them. V'hayu beis mishpachos b'Yerushalayim misgaro zu b'zu, and there were two families in Yerushalayim that would fight with one another. Zos omeres ani overes tchila, v'zos omeres ani overes tchila. This one would say, I should go first. The other one would say, I should go first. Hiskinu she'am omdin v'avelim over, and so they made a takana that the people, they should stand, and the mourners, they should be the ones to walk by, they should be the ones to pass by. And the Gemara continues at the two dots with a mnemonic for the following Gemara, Chazar v'holach v'siper simin. And the Gemara says, Amar Rami bar Abba. Rami bar Abba says, Hechzer Rabbi Yossi, as hadavar liyoshno. Rabbi Yossi returned it to the way it was originally, b'tzipore and sipore, meaning to say, Shayu avelim omdim, that it should be the mourners that stand, the cholam over, and the people are the ones that should walk by, they should pass by. V'yomar Rami bar Abba, and Rami bar Abba says, Hiskin Rabbi Yossi b'tzipore, Rabbi Yossi, he instituted in sipore, shalotei isha mahaleches b'shuk, that a woman should not walk in the marketplace, uvena achareha, and her son should be behind her, misham ma'isa shahaya, because of an incident that occurred. We'll see Rashi in a moment. V'yamar Rami bar Abba, and Rami bar Abba says, Hiskin Rabbi Yossi b'tzipore, Rabbi Yossi instituted in sipore, sheyu noshem esapros b'veis hakisei, that women should converse with one another in the bathroom, misham yichud, because of issues of yichud, in order to prevent problems of yichud, of men being alone with the woman. Amar Rav Menashe bar Ava, Rav Menashe bar Ava says, She'ela says Rav Yoshia Rabba, b'veis Alman de Hutzal, I asked Rav Yoshia the Great in the cemetery of Hutzal, v'yamar li, and he said to me, Ein shura pechusa me'asar b'nei adam, when you have these rows to comfort the mourners, it shouldn't be less than 10 people. V'ein avelim min haminyan, and the mourners don't count in that number. V'ein sha'avelim omdin v'cholam ovrin, and it's whether the mourners stand and the people are the ones that walk by. V'ein sha'avelim over in v'chol ha'omdin, or whether the mourners are the ones that are walking by and all of the people are standing. Both of those ways are fine. And Rashi explains, uveno achareh, a woman should not walk with her son behind her, beno hakotan, meaning her son who's a minor, lo yahalech achareh elo lefoneh, he shouldn't walk behind her, rather he should walk in front of her. Why? Mishum ma'isa shahaya, because of an incident that occurred, shaganvu paritza me'achareh, because there were people who kidnapped him from behind, unisanu bevayis, they put him in the house, ukeshachazr v'lo raso, when she looked back and she didn't see him, his chilot soekes uvoche, she started screaming and crying. Bo echad mehem, and one of those people who kidnapped him, he came, v'yamar, and said, Bo iverenu lach, come, I'll show you where he is. V'nichnas acharav, she followed him, v'inu osa, and they violated her, and because of that, that's why, again, the son should not be behind her. Misapros zuimzu, he also instituted that the woman should converse in the bathroom. Mishum yichud, to avoid problems of yichud. Shem yelech adam sham, maybe a person is going to go there, a man is going to go there. Vim lo yishma kol adam yikanes v'yisyachet sham. If he doesn't hear anything, he's going to go in there, and then there'll be yichud. Utanan lo yisyachet adam in beis noshim. A man is not allowed to be alone with two women. Ubebeis hakisei shebesados kamari. We're talking here about the bathrooms that were out in the fields. Shaya beis hakisei shalem besada chutz leir v'akol nifnim sham. They used to have the bathrooms in the fields outside the city. Everyone would go over there. That's why he instituted it in that fashion. And bein shavelim omdim sham, it doesn't matter if the mourners are the ones standing or the mourners are the ones walking. V'kach horali, he's saying, he told me as follows: she'ein shinoi minag bedavar. It doesn't matter if you do it, whichever way you do it is fine. Bein shayu avelim omdin, bein avelim ovrin, ein kan kilkel. Whether the mourners are standing or whether they're the ones walking, it's fine. It's not a problem. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Kishu misnachim v'chula, when he's being comforted, the Mishnah mentioned what they say to him. And the Gemara says, Yiboil hu, they ask the following question, Ki menachem hu achrini, when he consoles others, Heichi amar lahu, what does he say to them? And the Gemara says, Tashma, come in here, a proof from the following Bryce of Hu Omer. He says, Tisnachamu, you should be comforted. And the Gemara says, Hey Chidami, now what's the Bryce talking about? Ilema ki menachmi achrini lididei. If you say the Bryce is talking about when others are comforting him, Amar lahu ihu tisnachamu, he says back to them that you should be comforted. So nechasha karami lahu. So then it's really like a curse that he's giving them. He's almost saying that they should become mourners. So obviously that's not what the Bryce is saying. Ela ki menachem lachrini, Amar lahu tisnachamu shmamina. Rather, what the Bryce means is that when he is comforting others, that's when he says to them tisnachmu, and the Gemara says, indeed, you see that is the case. And Rashi explains, v'hu amar tisnachmu braysahi, again, this is a braysa that he says tisnachmu to them, nechasha karami, if you say that's a response that he's giving to them when he's being comforted, so simin hu mata lehem lahara, it's like a bad omen. She'etzdarchel l'nichum and bitmiya, he's telling them that they're going to need to be comforted. That would not make any sense. So again, obviously the braysa is talking when he's comforting them, and they are the mourners. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. The Mishnah said, Melech lo don v'chulu, a king doesn't judge others, and he is not judged. And the Gemara says, Amar Rav Yosef says, Lo shanu ala Malchei Yisrael. This is only true by the Malchei Yisrael, the kings of Israel. That's referring to the kings of the northern kingdom. Aval Malchei Beis David, but the kings of the house of David HaMelech, the kings of Yehuda, don v'don and no son. So they judge and they can be judged. Techsiv, as it's written in the pasuk, Beis David ko amar Hashem dinu laboker mishpat. It says that the house of David, they should judge. V'lo dainin alain. If we don't judge him, inu hechi daini. So how can they judge others? You can't judge others if you're not able to be judged. V'aksiv, but it's written in the pasuk, iskoshushu v'koshu, gather together. V'yam Reish Lakish, and Reish Lakish says, kishot atzmecha v'achar kach kishot acherim. First you have to adorn yourself, and then you can adorn others. So obviously, if they're able to judge others, meaning the kings of Beis David, so too they themselves are being judged. And the Gemara continues, Ela Malchei Yisrael my time alo. But what's the reason that the Malchei Yisrael, why are they not judged and they don't judge others? Misham Ma'aser Shahaya, it's because of the incident that happened. The Avde de Yanai Malka, because the slave, the servant of Yanai HaMelech, caught al nafshi, killed somebody. Amar Lu Shimon ben Shetach lechachamim. Shimon ben Shetach said to the chachamim, Tenu einechem bo nedonenu. You have to place your eyes upon him. We have to judge him. So Shalchule, they sent to him. They sent to Yanai HaMelech. Avdecha caught al nafshi. Your servant killed somebody. Shadri, you have to Shadri lahu. So he sent him to them. Shalchule. So then they sent back to him the following message: Ta'ant nami lahacha. You also have to come here. V'huad bivolav amra Torah. The Torah says v'huad bivolav. The owner has to be there. Yavo bal hashor v'yamod al shoro. The owner of the axe has to come and stand on the axe and stand by the axe while it's being judged. So to here when it comes to your servant. So Asav Yosef, so he came and he sat. Amar le Shimon ben Shetach. So Shimon ben Shetach said to him, Yana hamelech amod al raglecha. He said, King Yana, you have to stand up, you can't sit down. V'yidubach, and then they should testify against you. V'lo lefaneinu atomid, and it's not that you're standing in front of us. It's not that we need the honor. Ela lifnei mi shamar v'haya ha'olam atomid. Rather, you're standing in front of the one who pronounced, and the world came into existence. You're standing before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shenemar, as it says, v'yamdu shnei ha'anashim asher lo hamariv. It says that the two litigants, they stand up, and it mentions standing up before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Gemara continues, Amar lo, so Yanei HaMelech said back to him, Lo kishatomar ata. I'm not going to stand up just because you said so. Ela kamash yomer chavercha. Your colleagues, they have to say the same thing. Only in that circumstance am I going to stand up. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Yotes Amud Beis.